I would suggest that you do this though. Start from your areas of focus and move around the rest of the room, just doing it enough that it supports what you've got here and it doesn't overpower what you're doing here. That's the major idea around all of this. Okay, so there's this. Now this is inside, so I can go as skinny as this one, and I can go as skinny as this one, and here's my sign pen. That's a little too long. I wish the credit card was see-through. That would help. Okay, so we've got our focal area now. This has a toe kick, so when you're putting this in, instead of following the bottom line that goes with the base of the cabinetry here, the base of our seating, go back just a little bit, because this has a toe kick, that little recess. If you look around your kitchen, you'll see that all the counters have a little recess. They don't line up with the top of it, so that's important. And it lines up over here. It won't look officially like kitchen furniture if it doesn't have that little bit of... Now, this is your first pass. This is my first pass. I would go back again and fix things up afterward, but I'm just trying to... And all I can really show you here is just the importance of using the Pentel sign pen, of crossing your corners, of making the things in your focal area stand out, and leaving everything that's on the inside lighter than the silhouette of it on the outside. Now, you could... What would look actually quite graceful would be to keep your thinnest pen only for the hatching. Now, my attempts to hatch here have not been good because they're just making my hatching too dark. So I'm going to stop doing that and just focus on whether or not you should be using the Pentel sign pen. So on the inside here, I'm not using the Pentel sign pen. I'm just using my, what would be for you, your 0.07, and this makes it a little easier to... These things aren't important, but they say kitchen. Entourage is important in that way, and of course we know that she's important. She is our person that tells us how big the island is, how big everything in the room is. So she's quite important. And for her, on the outside, I'm going to use my sign pen. You've got to be careful, because when I was using the credit card for the things that were non-organic, that were man-made, the line was quite thinned out because using the straight edge made the line a little thinner looking. So when I'm working on her, I have to be careful. I have to be conscious of that and not let her lines get too thick on the outside. So now on the inside, you just thin lines to show she's got her apron on, and that get her hand there for chopping or cutting or whatever she's doing here with the bread. And that would be enough for her. And don't forget hair. Don't make it a solid line. Comb the hair. Not that we're going to see much of it on her, because she's just small here, but it's important. And she comes down behind the stool. I can see her, and she's level with that toe kick. So now again, I'm conscious of the fact that now all these pens, their ink is just slightly different one from the other, so it becomes a language. Even if I'm making this maybe a slightly different weight than what I used for the outside lines elsewhere, it's the same density. So it's a kind of language like in drafting, where you're using weights of lines to have different messages. Okay. Oh. Okay. Now this is obviously inside, so we're just going to do it with our, again, I'm being careful not to press, because if I press, it's going to be as thick as the sign pen. Now I have a little marbling on mine, so I'm just putting a little bit of the grain of the marble in. And don't forget reflections. You should use your, another reason, as I think I've said before, to use the card is because it kind of thins your lines out. They're not as dense, and it gives you the opportunity to maybe make a line that's a little bit thick to thin. Now this is quite a dark thing, but you would never render it as dark as that because the lights from above are all hitting it. So when you put your hatching in, it should appear something like this, but it's with the light pen, not the thick pen. And now this counter, there is a temptation to make this edge very dark, and I think on my other version I did, but I don't believe that now. See, that's the other thing. Although this is a very logical method of working, depending on how you are thinking at the time, things can change. So the way I do this now might be slightly different than the way I did it before. So you just have to, as long as you have a concept, my concept is this is my focus, then it should go along rather smoothly. And this, you see, I think should be just our inside line, our 0.07. And there's toe kick again. So all you have to do for the toe kick is just go back a little bit. So, and I hope everybody has run out to their kitchen. Ooh, this is a sign pen, to see what I'm talking about. If you haven't already noticed them, I'm sure you already have. It's just that once you know the name, you want to use it often. It's just how often do you get to say toe kick? So this is kind of like watching paint dry. I apologize, but I think it's better than just ranting about make your outside lines thicker, your inside lines thinner. Maybe showing is a better way to do that. Okay. Now, there are other philosophies, of course, like this is more distant than this. Why am I doing that? But whatever clarifies your drawing, that's what you're looking for. Now this is inside, so we do want that impression that you get from a kitchen, the clean lines, all those clean, lovely verticals, and to get that, we have to support it in this way. So I'm sticking with my pen. Now, I can use my sign pen up here because this is organic, so remember you've got to watch. Make sure you don't put it as dark as or darker than the lines you drew with the straight edge. There's a tendency for that to thin out. So there, so that helps. And then I have a shape for a window up here. So I'm gonna go up and that's just penumbra on the wall. So don't forget that, to put your shadows up and your penumbra up on the wall. I've got some blinds here, so put that up. I should go all the way down. I wish this was see-through, it'd be helpful. And these are inside now, so I can switch. So I left my focal area, and now I'm just trying out some ideas in the distant area. And I want to take a look and see, do I have to pump these up some more? But I really want to stress the idea of how much I'm relying on the drawing underneath, and that all those lines were drawn to the vanishing point, that they are accurate. So when you do your pencil drawing, I know it seems like too much work to be actually drawing everything again with the pen, but you can make little additions and improvements, and will all work out.